factoring expressions, which is really doing the distributive property backwards. Let's start by taking a really simple example. Now, we're not going to really add this, we're going to factor out the GCF. And what is the GCF of 8 and 32? It's 8. 8 is the largest number that goes into both terms. So now we're going to write 8 times the quantity of something plus something. And the first term has to be 8 times 1, and the second one has to be 8 times 4, so that it comes out the same way. And we can check our work by doing the distributive property. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 8 times 4 is 32. We got back to the original problem. That means that we factored it correctly. Here's a more typical one, 8x plus 22. Again, you start off by asking yourself, what's the GCF of these two terms? You have 8 and 22. The only thing that goes into both of them is 2. So that's going to go on the outside. And then inside the parentheses, we're going to have two terms. We need to have 4x in the first one, because that times 2 is 8x. And then the second one needs to be 11, because 2 times 11 makes 22. You check your work by distributing. When I distribute, it comes out as 8x plus 22. That means that we factored it correctly. Alright, now we have 9x squared plus 3x. Finding the GCF of 9 and 3 is easy, that's 3. But in this case, both terms have x's in them, and I can factor out an x from both terms. I can only take out an x because the last term has at most an x, not an x squared. So we start by writing 3x, and then inside the parentheses, we will have two terms. The first one needs to be 3x, because 3x times 3x will make 9x squared, plus 1, because we already have 3x on the outside, so 3x times 1 makes 3x. Make sure you always check your work by multiplying and distributing, and making sure you come up with the original expression. Factor out a negative half from negative 1/8 x minus 3/2 y. This time we're not finding the GCF because they're specifically telling us to take out a factor of negative half. Then you say to yourself, what times negative half makes 1/8? And 1/2 times a fourth makes an eighth. So we need to write 1/4 x. Now you need to decide 1/2 times what makes 3/2. 1/2 times 3 over 1 makes 3/2, or just 3 whole. Now it's going to have a term of 3y. And make sure you multiply, distribute so that you check your work. Negative half times 1/4 x makes negative 1/8 x. Negative half times negative 3y makes positive 3/2 y, which is incorrect because the original expression says negative 3/2 y. That means there's a mistake. I should have written plus 3y. Now when I distribute negative half to 3y, I will get negative 3/2 y, which matches the original expression.